Good evening, everybody. Cocktails full and ready. Cheers, buddy. I got booted out of the boathouse tonight. Steph and Eli are watching Jackass, and we're gonna head back out there and watch it. It's always fun to watch. It's always a good laugh. If you've never seen any of them, um, suggestion have a good laugh. And I think on maybe Amazon Prime, I think is where we're watching them. It's always a good time watching those guys. Oh, wait for just a couple more people. We're just going to talk some fishing reports tonight. Nothing super special. Angie, there's always something biting in the river. A lot of catfish this time of the year. But I suspect with this rain coming up, we're going to get a bunch of current, and you'll start to see some fish swimming around in the river again. The problem is our water's so low, and there's like zero current pretty much anywhere right now. So these next few days of rain, and from what we've had, we've been getting a little bit of water, but just hasn't really started. Absolutely, Brad. Just really hasn't been much going on. A lot of catfish, if you want to go, catch some cats. Now, about a week ago here, I haven't heard anything since. The white bass were going crazy in the river, underneath the bridges and off the T docks. Pretty much anywhere you went, you see some bait fish. Probably, that's the thing in the river right now in Oshkosh. There's so many minnows swimming around that I think that's why those white bass and stuff are in there. But yeah, lots of cats, your normal sheephead, and some whiteys for sure. As far talking, I guess the fox and Oshkosh out on Winnebago, the tournaments, they definitely have been showing, some huge numbers, some huge weights. And it's been a really slow jig bite for me. I'm not going to lie. The last couple weeks here, just up until the last few days, it's been so calm and hot. We got a few fish up in the weeds, but as far as catching fish up on the rocks on those calm days, anybody that fishes that lake knows you need a little bit of wind. So for the most part, I had to pull out the trolling rods, and we went and we're just trolling out in the mud. There's, I would say, 4 really good pods that I know of. I'm sure there's more, but like I said earlier, is the that whole lake. I think you could troll from north to south right now, and there's so many fish out on that lake swimming around. It's crazy. But for the most part, straight out of Garlic, I'd say, from Garlic Islands, a mile to 2.5 miles, and then, a mile and a half either direction. There's a pretty good pot of fish that's been going on out there. And as far north as, Stevens, too, that out in the mud, that's kind of where those fish have been swimming. And then over out in front of the waters, out in front of the mouth of the river, there's a really big school of fish that's cruising around out there. Then there's one down south of the islands, down by Fondy, and another big one that I know of over off the east shore, down anywhere between Pipe and Brothertown. They're just kind of swimming around, but a lot of white bass. It's pretty easy. If you speed up, make some corners, run your baits high, catch pretty much all the white bass you want to out there right now. The walleyes, what I found, and I've heard so many mixed reports in talking to guys. I think truthfully, you can catch them on anything. But when I've been out, the days that we really get into them have been some of those calmer days when the bugs are absolutely horrendous. If the bugs aren't flying, it seems like the fish are a little bit deeper. But if the bugs are really bad, I think a lot of these fish are feeding on the bugs or feeding on the perch that are eating the bugs up on the surface. And how do I know that they're eating perch? Is every walleye we've caught and had in the live well, anything 18, 19, 20 inches right around there. By the time we're done fishing, I've got a live well full of perch. And that's, I think those perch are out there. They're feeding on the bugs, and the walleyes are going right behind and feeding on the. We're hearing a lot of guys catching perch out there too, trolling. I've kind of been slowly looking around trying to find some perch, and I seen some massive schools of perch still out over 18 to water, but getting close to the areas that you're going to start to see them here over the probably next week or two. They're really getting schooled up, and just I've never seen perch in schools like they are right now. I mean, just hundreds and thousands of fish. It's crazy. And the one thing too, when we're out there, the water is still very clear. So I always carry my mark on my little handheld, one of my I either got a Recon or my Pursuit in the boat. And everybody says, well, how do you know they're perch? Well, you mark them. They look like perch on a graph, and you drop a camera down, just kind of slow troll around and see. And it's just, I mean, thousands and thousands of perch swimming around down on the bottom. It's just crazy. So one of these days here, I'm going to try and get out there and maybe even try and find some of those schools, out in those mud flats, out in the middle of nowhere. And I think with how big those schools are, when you see them on side imaging, I think you can you probably get into them. So one of the things I've been doing too, and I've got a video that I'm going to be launching here, just kind of showing and kind of some of the baits and some of the true techniques that we've been doing out in the mud. But I love putting the Mega Live down on the bow and pointing it kind of at a 45-degree angle, away from the boat but forward. And what's been nice is, as I'm driving around, side imaging only shows so much. You can see that there's fish off to the side, you can see that there's fish underneath you, but exactly what depth those fish are running at, is sometimes pretty hard to tell. You can get close, but you can never really get that precise depth. So putting that Mega Live down at a 45 or out at a 45 and just a couple degrees down, so I can see that whole water column, I'm watching these fish. And what's crazy is you'll see them real high up on the surface as you're getting close to them. And as soon as you get within 30 to 50 feet, those fish, shoom, they shoot straight down to the bottom. So once I started doing that and figuring out where these fish were at, I started running Salmos 10 to 15 feet behind boards and catching the walleyes on the calmer days because they're up near the surface. We were running a lot of deep baits and trying to concentrate on, there's a lot of fish that swim in that, 10 to 12 feet of water. And we were trying to put a lot of baits there, and, we were catching fish there too. But boy, every time we go through a really big pocket of bugs up near the surface, there would just be fish everywhere. So I just started bringing baits up. And yes, there were a lot of white bass, but there's a lot of perch, and a lot of the bigger walleyes that we got were, anywhere from 3 to 5 feet down underneath the surface trolling. The other thing a lot of guys I think are doing, I'm out there and talking to a bunch of people. People are messaging me and talking to other friends, and one boat's getting them, another boat's not getting them. We're getting them. And what I found is, a lot of these guys are just trolling too slow. The guys that are trolling, even pulling crawlers, they're doing like 1.5 to 1.8 with crawlers. And, we're trolling crankbaits, 2.2, 2.3, and I'm doing a lot of S curves. And every time, you start turning, it seemed like not the far outside board, but the middle two, they're starting to book around the corners even a little bit more than, 2.3. And those would get hit by walleye. So don't be afraid to speed up your baits and do some S curves and start going around and not just going in a straight line. And there was one day out there that was kind of unique in the fact that we could get fish going south. We'd make a loop and come back north, and we could not get a bite. No sheephead, no white bass, no walleyes, nothing. We'd make a turn, come back going south, and we couldn't keep 5 boards in the water, more or less 8. So, just like Lake Michigan, you get those currents. And what I want to do one of these next times I go out and troll, which I hate doing, so I try not to get too wrapped up in it. But I want to bring out my I've got the fish hawk stuff that has the water temperature and speed and all that, and drop it down there while we're trolling once, and just to see how much of a current we have compared to fishing Lake Michigan, because I know for a fact it's making a difference. And it's crazy. Brad's saying the same thing. Direction has been huge this year. I've never seen it like this bad on Winnebago. I mean, when we find a pattern, it's not so much what color, what depth, or not so much speed, but it's been the small details has been direction. Once you figure out which direction those fish are eating from, then you just pretty much replicate it and do whatever you can to get it as close as you can. So just figure those little small details out and pay attention. Like I say, there were times where we'd be trolling and the bugs would just kind of go away, and that was it. Fish were gone. I wouldn't even see a whole lot on the screen, and then all of a sudden we'd start getting closer. We'd start seeing a lot of fish swim through on the Mega Live out in front of us, and then you get up there and there's piles of fish on side imaging. They're on 2D sonar. They're on Mega Live, and again, for the most part, 12 feet and up has been where most of those fish have been coming from. So, just little things to try. And I was very welcomed, or I really welcomed the wind that we had here earlier this week, and was finally able to get back out and throw some jig sticks. And I tell you what, man, if you guys haven't tried those Willow Vibes from Z-Man, pick a couple up and try them. They're so effective on these fish, especially fishing the rocks. There's so many different ways you can fish this too. We've been pounding smallies on them. We've been getting walleyes on them, perch, caught some crappies, and obviously sheephead. But everything's eating these baits, and it's what's nice about it is you can fish it really fast and erratic, and plastic, and get those reaction bites. Or like the other day when we had that cold front and all that wind, I just put a half a crawler on with a little bit of a tail, cast it out, and it's an easy method of fishing because you don't do anything other than either lift really slow or reel really slow. The bait does the rest. And we got onto a spot, and one of the guys, not taking anything away from him, but he wasn't a diehard fisherman, and it's such an easy technique that truthfully you can give it to anybody and let them cast and do a slow reel, and the fish are going to eat it. So pretty excited about that bait. That bait's been catching a lot of fish for us this summer, and can only imagine what we're going to find at ICAST coming up here July 10th. I'll be doing some videos and kind of giving you guys the lowdown on what's happening down there. I'll be down there all week this year, and really looking forward to going down and seeing everybody again. Last year I took the year off, and it'll be nice to go down and show you guys what's new before you guys can get them in the store. So that'll be that. The other thing that's going on is out here on the Central Lakes, a lot of crappies. The crappie bite has been absolutely fantastic. If you can find any of these lakes, the crappies right now are in the thick cabbage, and then these little curly Q, white weeds that grow in some of these lakes, and they're all sitting up really high in the surface, or right underneath the surface in the weeds. And we've been just casting little tubes. We've been casting the Euro tackles, got a couple of those crappie plastics that have been good on the tungsten baits. Z-Man's got this little grub thing that looks like a dragonfly larva. That thing has been incredible too, and just been a lot of fun, a lot of nice crappies. And you're going to get bluegills and stuff mixed in as well, but it's good to see some healthy populations of crappies on some of these lakes come back again. So kudos to everybody that's managing the lakes. Bluegills, there again, the fish have definitely been off their beds, and most of the fish are suspending down some really big schools. So once you get out, either on side imaging or with Mega Live, I can just scan, and I just typically I drive around. I'll grid out an area over some of these deeper basins, and you'll find the big schools. And then I'm either just casting slip bobbers with leeches, or piece of crawler, or just throwing some tubes too. So a lot of different techniques, but the fish are biting. They're pretty much in their summer patterns. A lot of these water temperatures are in the high 70s. A couple of lakes getting in the low 80s, and typical summer stuff now out here over Wapaco, Sharon, out on the so. Good fishing. I mean, the fishing has been fantastic. The smoky weather and all this crappy air has been pretty rough on a lot of people. So, it makes it a little bit difficult to spend all day out on the water. But hopefully it'll go away here, and we can enjoy the 4th of July weekend. Hope everybody has a good 4th, and be safe. And we'll, next Tuesday's 4th of July, so we won't be on here next Tuesday. I've had some crazy schedules here the last couple of weeks, some doctor's appointments and some sales stuff. So just haven't been able to get a consistent schedule going here. But we'll probably speak with you guys after the 4th. Maybe like Wednesday or Thursday, we'll jump on and see what's happening. I'm gonna try and get out and go do some catfishing. My buddy Bud had a whole bunch of fish last night. I think he had a big one over 40. He's got a spot that we're gonna go check out, and I can't wait to get some video of some of those big flatheads. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Other than that, that's what I know. It's pretty much a rundown of what's happening. The mud bite, the trolling bite's been fantastic. When it blows, the fish are up on the rocks, and you've got those big 4 schools of fish that are really working out on the lake. And obviously, there's a lot of other places that fish are, but you get out over some of these schools, and your screens are just lit up. So definitely just look for the boats if you're going out. Look for the boats, because there'll be a pile of them all sitting on the schools of fish. And some of the bait, I guess we'll talk baits real quick. Salmos, pretty high in the water column. I will run some down every once in a while. Like 50 feet's been kind of that magic number when you see them down in that 10, 12 feet of water. We've been running flicker minnows anywhere from 25 to 75. Flicker shads, number 7s, black and gold, 50-foot back has been a really hot bait for me. The purple tiger flicker minnows in a number 5, I've been running 65 back, and then the number 7s, I've been running 35 to 50 and doing really well. And like I say, colors, I've been trying more of just the natural colors, blues and silvers. The purple tigers, the let's see, black and gold, blue and silver. That there's a purple Viking, not the original Viking, but like a I don't know, it's a custom color. I know Fox River Bait and Tackle has it. That bait's probably been my hottest bait this year, even earlier on out on Poigan. That bait has caught a lot of fish. I know if you stop in at Fox River Bait and Tackle and look up there, it's like a purple top row, purple with silver stripes. Pretty good color, pretty good bait. And again, pretty much anywhere in the water column. There really has, like I say, there hasn't been a really steady pattern. It's just more so been which direction we've been going. And it seems like mainly, heading south is when you get the most walleyes. But every day is different. You just got to get out there and fish. Other than that, if anybody's looking to get out, I do have some openings here now coming up in July for Green Bay and obviously Winnebago, and then we're going to be doing some catfish trips. I will be gone the 10th, that week of the 10th, down in Florida for ICAST. But if anybody's looking to get out, even go chase some big cats, a lot of fun. If you've never done that, that's about as close to saltwater fishing as what you'll get around here. They definitely put up a battle. I guess that's all I got for you guys. Have a good 4th. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. Otherwise, we'll on the water, Have a good weekend and catch a bunch of fish. Send some pictures. We'll talk to you guys later. Cheers.